The recent shooting spree from a naval officer has many raising questions. Did the news report the event before it happened? Did shooter hear small frequency waves telling him to carry out the shootings? Did the reports indicate that an automatic weapon was used, even though it was a shotgun? Why the rampant violence? What is going on? Attack on the Second Amendment. There has been many reports on the news about some crazed lunatic with semi-automatic storming into schools, offices and other places, shooting, injuring and killing people. It seems as though people are losing their minds. That would be the first assumption, but I see a big picture. Is there a conspiracy to take our Second Amendment rights away? I don't just see that a goal to just take the Second Amendment right, but all our constitutional rights away. First, let me explain why I'm blogging and not making a video as I usually do. 1. I want this as clear as possible. 2. This blog will have a lot information dealing with the current issues facing our country today. I will discuss how the attack on our rights is not only destroying America and its principles, but how it is a clear sign of prophecy of the end times. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 2:4-6 NKJV. The Georgia school shooting in the news recently. The usual report of some depressed kid with semi-automatic in a school, but in this case, no one was hurt or killed. Shush it. CE 2013, August 21st. Atlanta CNN. A man who opened fire at a Georgia elementary school Tuesday was armed with an AK-47 and a number of other weapons, police said. This seems to be the norm here lately. Some kid with depression issues walks by the school armed with AK-47 with usual "no one likes me" scenario, ready to shoot everyone. This stands out on its own. One reason: no one was hurt or killed, and the media draws special attention to the fact, he stated. Investigator T.L. Wortham of the DeKalb County Sheriff's Fugitive Unit tells WSB-TV that as officers were apprehending him, he said. Associated Press 2013, August 21st. I'm sorry, I'm off my meds. Not that the previous gun shootings gunmen did not said to have mental issues as well. What I am noticing is that the shooter, in this case Michael Brandon Hill, said he was off his meds. So the scenario plays out: a mental unstable kid off his meds gets his hands on an AK-47 and walks into school to shoot everyone. Thank God no one was hurt. The bookkeeper calms the kid down, and he was arrested on numerous charges. Associated Press 2013, August 21st. Suspected shooter Michael Brandon Hill, 20, faces charges including aggravated assault on a police officer, terroristic threats and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, police spokeswoman Mecca Parrish said. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 2:4-6 NKJV. Picture point 1. Tighter background checks. This comes after the Aurora Cole movie theater shooting Knoxville 2012, July 25th. I believe the majority of gun owners would agree that we should do everything possible to prevent criminals and fugitives from purchasing weapons. That we should check someone's criminal record before they can check out a gun seller. That a mentally unbalanced individual should not be able to get his hands on a gun so easily, he said. These steps shouldn't be controversial. They should be common sense. Now, looking over Obama's statement, you would think this would be a good idea, but pay close attention to this that a Knox, 2012, July 25 mentally imbalanced individual should not be able to get his hands on a gun so easily. I would have to agree that no one with mental disabilities should be able to carry a weapon. Criminal backgrounds should be considered as well depending on the charges, but at face value, this looks like a great motive to help cut down on gun violence. So if you cannot buy a gun because of mental illness, then kids that were on Prozac when they are grown would not be able to buy a gun. Martin B. N.D. As with all mental disorders, the exact cause of attention deficit disorder ADHD is unknown, so parents should not blame themselves for this problem. It is likely that many factors play a role in each case of ADHD, very little of which has to do with specific parenting or child rearing skills. So when these kids grow up, they would not be able to purchase a gun. This would not seem to be a big deal if there were small cases of children who were medicated, but pay attention to this null G and D. The situation in American schools today was chillingly illustrated for me by a teacher I talked with recently. She works for a state-funded organization that sends teachers, social workers, psychologists, and speech therapists to disadvantaged schools for support. Once a week, she explained, there are meetings with the principal, other staff, and sometimes parents to discuss specific problem children. Although we are given no specific training in how to advise or function as a team, she said, we are looked at as experts, and our advice is highly regarded. In my experience, the meetings are merely attempts to find quick fix solutions, and since the psychologist dominates, the answer to a great many childhood problems is an ADHD or AD diagnosis, for which medication is considered the logical solution. So kids are giving Prozac or other medications because they feel they have ADHD or AD null GND. All of a sudden, it seems, millions of American children are said to be afflicted with mental illnesses, and they are being put on strong medicationsover periods of YEARSAS treatment. Isn't it time we stopped and looked at what the mental health establishment is getting us to do to our children? What a great way to loophole around our Second Amendment right to bear arms when the law is passed to have tighter background checks, and because as a child you had ADHD you cannot purchase a gun to protect your family. The whole case scenario is that these are kids committing these crimes with AK-47s, they not even old enough to purchase the guns. Would the reasoning be that there should be a tighter laws on how parents or however these kids are getting these guns be made? The tighter background checks is targeted at the purchasers, but the ones causing the massacres are children. So ADHD, if it is not a real disorder, how can it be a mental disorder? Furthermore, why is the school system suggestion that children take it? Even when writing this about ADHD, while researching the internet, I noticed that my email is flooded with mail about ADHD. Here is an example, if one here. So is this some conspiracy to take away our Second Amendment rights? One after seeing this evidence would suggest so, but this is not what I'm writing about entirely, but to show from this evidence how close we are to the Lord's second coming. This has Remnant Informer presents more episodes of Looking at the Big Picture with Small Screen Eyes coming soon. Podcast coming soon. Check out more blogs and videos at http://istandbythword.blogspot.com/ Please check end of the video and blog for references for your own research. Thank you for watching. As always, I stand by the word. God bless.